Why I don't want a bigger house. So my friends Justin and Brittany bought a house last year and now they are selling it. Not because they can't afford it, not because anything went terribly wrong. They're selling it because the house is simply too big. There's too much space, too much cleaning, too much maintenance, and too much responsibility. What they really want is the simplicity of living in an apartment or a smaller house. And honestly, I completely understand. Because even though we could probably afford a bigger house, I don't want one. Our current home meets our family's needs. And I learned that just because you can afford to upgrade your lifestyle does not mean that the upgrade will actually improve your life. In fact, one of my biggest financial regrets is buying a house before I was ready. I was young and newly married. A lot of our friends were buying houses and I kept hearing the same advice. Renting is throwing money away. You need to start building equity. Buying a home is what responsible adults do. And after hearing that enough times, I started to believe it, that we were falling behind. So we bought a house. The problem was that we did not have a down payment. We used the first-time home buyer loan that came with higher interest rates and additional costs. And when we were signing the paperwork, I saw something called private mortgage insurance, or PMI. I remember being completely caught off guard. I had a degree in finance and I still did not fully understand what I was agreeing to pay. My mortgage lender had not explained it clearly. And at that point, we were already sitting at the table signing the document after document. So PMI is generally an additional cost borrowers have to pay when they purchase a home with a smaller down payment. It really protects the lender, not the homeowner. So when we were paying more each month because we had purchased a home before we had saved enough money to be financially ready for it. Now, thankfully, the house eventually worked out for us. I want to be clear about that. Buying the house did not ruin our lives. We did eventually build equity and things turned out okay. But a financial decision working out eventually does not mean that you made it for the right reasons. And it does not mean that you made it at the right time. I bought a home because I felt pressure. I was worried that renting meant that I was wasting money. I thought homeownership was simply the next step I was supposed to take. But renting is not always throwing away your money. Renting gives you a place to live. It can give you flexibility. It can protect you from certain repair costs. And in some seasons of lives, renting might be the smartest financial choice available. Homeownership can be wonderful, but it is not automatically the right decision for everyone. And it is not automatically the right decision at every stage of life. And the same thing is true when it comes to buying a bigger house. A larger house is not just a larger mortgage payment. It can also mean higher property taxes, higher homeowners insurance, higher heating and cooling bills, more furniture, more decorating, more rooms to clean, more things to repair, more yard work, and more pressure to maintain a certain level of income. Sometimes we look at the monthly payment and ask, can we afford this? But I think there's a better question. Do we want the life that comes with this? Because every purchase has a cost beyond money, right? It costs time, it costs energy, it costs attention, and sometimes it costs freedom. If we bought a larger house, yeah, we might have more space, but we would also have more space to clean and maintain. And we're gonna fill it with a lot more junk. We might have a nicer kitchen or an extra bedroom, but we would also have less money available for investing, travel, retirement, experiences, and the things that generally make our lives better. And that trade-off, it's just not worth it to me. So there's a book called The Millionaire Next Door that explores the habit of people who quietly build wealth. And one of the most important ideas in the book is that many wealthy people do not necessarily look wealthy. They're not constantly upgrading their homes, vehicles, clothes, and lifestyles every time they earn more money. In fact, they live below their means. They build wealth privately instead of displaying it publicly. And that idea really stayed with me. We often imagine that financial success should be visible. A bigger house, a newer car, more expensive furniture, a more impressive lifestyle. But sometimes the person with the nicest house is spending nearly everything they earn. And sometimes the person living in an ordinary home is steadily investing, traveling, giving generously, and building real financial freedom. Remember, you cannot always see wealth, and you also cannot always see financial stress. So this is why I do not want to make financial decisions based on what other people will think. I did that once. I allowed the choices and opinions of other people to influence when I purchased my first home. I do not want to repeat that mistake by buying a larger home simply because it appears to be the next logical step. My home, it meets my family's needs. We have a place to sleep, a place to eat. We have room to spend time together. We have what we need. And I do not believe that adding more rooms will automatically add more happiness. I also want to acknowledge that owning any home, well, it's a privilege. This is not an argument against larger houses. Some families genuinely need more space. Some people love home projects, entertaining, gardening, or maintaining a larger property. A large house may be completely worth it to them. The point is that not everyone should live in a small house or an apartment. The point is that we should stop automatically treating bigger as automatically better. We should be allowed to decide what enough looks like in our own lives. And for my friends Justin and Brittany, enough meant returning to an apartment and then a smaller house and having fewer responsibilities. But for another family, enough may mean purchasing a larger home because they truly need the space. For us, enough means appreciating the home we already have and using the money to create more freedom. I want to invest. I want to travel. I want to have flexibility. I want to be able to work because I enjoy my work, not because I'm trapped by an expensive lifestyle. I want to be able to spend time with the people I love. And I want my money to support my life instead of forcing my life to revolve around earning more money. That is why I do not want a bigger house. Not because bigger houses are bad, not because I do not have goals, and not because I'm against enjoying money. I simply know that more house would not create more of the life that I personally want. The goal is not to buy the biggest house you can afford. The goal is to build a good life, a comfortably affordable life, and to still have the time, money, and freedom to enjoy it. So before you make your next lifestyle upgrade, ask yourself, would this genuinely improve my life? Or does it simply look like the next thing I'm supposed to want? Because sometimes building a better life is not about getting more. Sometimes it's about recognizing when you already have enough.